Welcome back. So today gonna be kind of a short video again. This is an almost nice guy, episode 39, and what I want to kind of address today is the unconscious bond that most men still have today, or nice guys have to their mothers. Right? You still have this bond, and it's. I've done the toxic bond before and whatnot, the unhealthy relationship with mother, and it is really hurting your ability to find or to have an authentic relationship with your wife or your LTR slash girlfriend, whichever, right? And yeah, so it kind of just destroys that because nice guys tend to maintain a bond by doing things, or they do maintain a bond by doing things that stops them from building that authentic bond with their wife. It can be something like you are really involved with your work, your hobbies, uh, finding people who need fixing. For example, addicts or people, porn addicts, people who masturbate, people who are addicted to fantasy. Um, some people that have like sexual affairs or sexual dysfunction. Like, there's a long list of things that nice guys do to keep them from building an authentic bond. Um, so basically, any activity that prevents them from building a bond, that is how you kind of destroy building a bond. Uh, so I would like to pose the question: right? How do you build a bond, an authentic bond? So the easy way, and most of us know to do it this way, is by spending time with the person. You do activities together, things you enjoy, you talk, start building a bond. It's not immediate. It builds over time. So how do well, I will give an example of how I kind of, or I still do, or still did, unconsciously keep this bond to my mother and kind of distance myself from my past relationships or ex-girlfriends and my wife. So I did it a few ways. One is sexual dysfunction, right? Lack of desire. Um, Another one could be porn. Although I will say on this one, it wasn't a massive issue for me. Yeah, I watched it every now and then and whatnot, but it wasn't addicting. The only thing I really have addiction to, or two things I would have say I would really be addicted to, was smoking and coffee. Which coffee I'm still kind of there, but smoking I've stopped. Right, so those two were my two main addictions or vices. Everything else I don't have much of a connection to. Right, so like porn wasn't massive. If it was there, if it wasn't there, it didn't impact me. Um, yeah, so I would try to sabotage my relationships in order to not build this real intimacy or this bond. And I would also prioritize a lot of like doing things with my mother instead, or family instead of with my LTR. Um, because real intimacy and the real bonding is scary. I mean, as you say, with as I would say, with your mother, you have an unconscious bond, and they already know you on a level where you don't have to hide, right? You don't have to hide who you are. You don't have to completely. I won't say you do have people pleasing, and you still have all of that, but you're since you've grown up in that, it's something you are familiar with. You know the dynamics, right? It's not as difficult as if you have with your wife or whatever. So you would try to sabotage anything that presents itself as authentic or real intimacy. Let's see what the time is here. We're on 4 or 5 minutes. Okay, so we are doing pretty good. Um, yeah, so it's unconscious. You guys gotta bring the unconscious to conscious, right? So just take a look at your life. You can write down in a journal or on a paper, like, what are some things that you do that you know, that you kind of know prevent you from building this authentic relationship with your wife, right? It can also be like the fact that you go do things with your mother instead of doing them with your wife or your LTR. For example, there are some shows where the sons and the mothers go for pedicure or something, a spa for the day together, like um, quite often, or like every, instead of doing that with their wife, it's always mother's always involved. Mother always has it's always picked first in a sense. So your wife is technically always, or your LTR is always competing for your time to build a bond. So it's interesting once you realize these things and how it's still you're still connected. You still unconsciously have this bond to your mother. Interesting. That's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.